you need to know this is actually the first time I'm holding the book in my hands and seeing the book. But you've heard Appupen's, bio note. All of you know his work. I met Appupen about 5 years ago. I'll just say George because it feels odd to be calling him Appupen directly. But 5 years ago, when he was visiting France. And then for the next few years, I kept seeing him. So he'd be in Angoulême at times. He'd come to Paris at times. There was a lot of back and forth. And there was a lot of eating involved. There was also a lot of watching circus and watching dance. But he kept saying a name over and over again. You kept saying, I'm going to work with Laurent. I have to meet Laurent. I'm going to wait at République. Who is Laurent? And how on earth did you make this book together?
So, yeah, she pronounces the name correctly. I still haven't got that down pat. Laurent. I keep saying Laurent anyway. I was in France for a residency at this place called Angoulême, very prestigious comic place for, generally they have a big comic festival and awards and all that. So it was, it was portrayed as being very prestigious, and if you go there something happens and all that. So I applied and I went there and nothing happened. So I was feeling really bad, and I was really trying to make some sense of my time over there. And of course this AI thing was coming up in the background. And it's purely by chance that I met Laurent at a festival in Paris where he was there as a guest of a friend. And I know that this guy does some AI, that's all. I used to feel like I'm always badly dressed in France. And I'm always traveling between places and all. So I went and stood with the guy who looked the shabbiest in the place. That was Laurent with his
call.
Yeah. Then we connected like that, and then we started talking. And I asked him about AI because I know he's an AI scientist sort of thing. But he said the way we're going to run out of resources and energy. We are depending on better batteries and better technologies to keep this world going. Not like the tech guys I find in Bangalore who are always more tech is the only answer to bad tech. So this guy was telling me things, and that's the perspective I needed. So I started digging a little more, and I sort of coaxed him into doing a little explainer of AI with me. That's how it started. And then we pitched it to some publishers, and then the publishers pushed for a novel. The publishers pushed for more thriller and more basically they pushed for everything I wanted. I wanted to make it more of a story. I wanted to make it a dystopian kind of thing. Not just dystopian, okay, we'll open up the field about AI. And so I think with the publisher's input, Laurent was also kind of convinced that we should go that way.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. How did you persuade you and the publishers together, this very techie brain, that you needed to actually be counterintuitive and go the fiction way?
I think you know that because in France it's not perceived the way it is seen over here. So a CEO of a company wouldn't mind he'd like to be an author of a bande dessinée. But here, I don't even think I'll be able to work with anybody who calls themselves a CEO because this work went very well. I was very lucky to be in a collaboration like that. We had lots of arguments and everything, and then I figured out this is a scientist guy. If you convince him with your argument, then that's it. He's convinced. He's not arguing with any emotion or anything. It's how it should be. So it was really nice to go into that zone because I have a lot of doubts and I have a lot of fears about this AI thing. And here is a man who is also a CEO of a company. So when the book comes out, his friends are also going to read it. So what are they going to think about how he's badmouthed AI or something? So we should not go there, but we have to open up the whole thing and show it in a way, and that's how it went. But yeah, more about the performance things. No, so from there, it became like a back and forth between us. So the tech stuff, he knows the tech stuff. I don't know anything of the tech stuff when I go into the book. So if I can study it from him, so he sends these modules which he uses for teaching, if I can study those and put it down myself, like tell it as a story myself, then if I can get it, I think most people should be able to get it. So I was like that benchmark thing. Like if I can get it, then most people should be able to get it. The idea behind the book was that only, to open up and to show a wide image of AI which lets you inform yourself about it, and it should not be a corporate agenda. It should not be like what the brands want to make you think about AI. Because even now, like I was talking to some friends yesterday, day before, people have become friendly with AI now because they use it they use ChatGPT and they generate some stuff. They use some Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or something for art. And yesterday, one friend was telling me about music. So he just like does a dub 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 sound, and he feeds it into the AI and tells him he wants that in Neil Peart's drumming style. That will do. The AI will do that. It'll be a dub 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 with the hi-hats and cymbal and snare and bass and everything. So he's just experimenting with rhythm. But my stand is still the same. But like I'm seeing that people are getting very easily friendly with the idea of AI, and I think that's what the AI interest wants us to do. There's a lot of stuff behind AI. There's a lot of stuff that you don't want to want people to think about or get scared straight away, because most of the movies were scary about AI and everything. So we've drawn this really fluffy, friendly, cute picture of AI where everybody's like playing with it, and all these. We always say it's going to make life more convenient and all, like like this, with better suggestions, with softer like.
And Laurent, I mean, for someone who is working in tech, and this is working, right? Yeah. And Laurent, for someone who's working in tech, you said he had a slightly counterintuitive position. What is it that he fears the most? And could you identify with that? Like, what's your own journey with AI been through the making of the book?
I think it came back to where I thought it would be. It's diffused with a lot of extra information that is going to confuse us. But Laurent himself, he teaches also. So I think when he teaches, he needs to open up all sides of AI for his students, though they don't dwell on it too much, like he said. It's just it's probably like one part of a chapter or something where you have to study like some warnings about AI or something. That's all. So I think he was throwing out that part while I was asking about the environmental repercussions and all that. But from there, it was a little difficult to delve into things. Also on the environmental front, he just had what he was teaching. We didn't have anything more. So I had to do parallel research and put some few things there. I think he was as open as he could be, coming from the industry and coming from like thing. But they were like nice debates. But then because for impact in the story, I have to say that AI is going to affect the world in a particular way. Full stop. But Laurent will extend the sentence and say, if things don't change and if we continue the same way, but by the time that whole sentence is through, my impact of the sentence is completely gone. So then we had an argument about it. So then I thought about it, how do I see it? Then I noticed that here and there in the book, we say that AI can promise great things. AI is good for many things. So I asked him, like, we don't have proof for that also, right? So then it came to like an understanding. Okay, without proof, we can't say both sides. So then we can, because it's a story, we can take our stand kind of thing. That's how it went.
And how, can you tell us, for instance, I know you have a PowerPoint, so maybe this is a good time to show and tell. How, for instance, is a page like in the back and forth between you, how does it kind of develop?
Thank you, Karthika. Is the introduction. We're talking about superhero, Super Hugo, who is the alter ego in the story. I use it as a device to convey another side, another layer of the story. So he's talking about how he grew up, how his ambition was to like work in AI, and he was fascinated with it and everything. But he was also a very reality-based kind of person. So his fantasies all had like nuts and bolts, and they made sense on paper and in mathematics and stuff like that. Can I have the next one? So he's saying like things come together with this AI thing, anything is possible. He's getting the same feeling that he got long ago when he was in college or he was getting out of college. That spirit he's getting now, because we are saying that it's a great time for AI. Oh. Next one, please. So that's when he's landing. Like we're transitioning from the dream Super Hugo to the real Hugo. And this is a garden near Laurent's house where we used to go and like walk around. Is the Jardin du Plantes means like garden of plants only, right?
Jardin des Plantes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the historic monuments. You
Yeah.
actually worked in the Jardin des Plantes?
Ah.
God, this man is so lucky.
Oh, like it's between his house and the office space that he walks to. So it's along the way. So I like to walk inside there. So I thought that could be the place where he lands. And now he's walking to office. And so, yeah, it goes like that. Can I have the next one? Now it's not in order. These are the first 3 pages of the book. I just wanted to like show how we go into it. Then these are different pages from here and there. You can see the page number sort of, but I can't read it, so I'm not going to go into it too much. Like this is just the look of it. It's basically when we realize that this large corporation who has made a very lucrative offer of a deal to our protagonist. We're starting to hear things about this large corporation from his friends and from people who he works with and all that. And slowly our man is beginning to doubt this whole thing. I like this going into that corporate mindset kind of thing. It always fascinates me how it works. So Laurent was very clear on like how the business would work. So I had to like make him divorce from his real life and his role as a CEO to come and think with me as a storyteller, because in the story these kind of things can happen. He was very clear that in real life nobody will not take the lucrative deal and do something that seems like ethical or responsible or something. He was absolutely like, this is a fantasy story now because our character is going to like think twice about it. Nobody does, he said. So this is when, and he also teaches in a university, so he's wondering about the future of the current generation that he's teaching. He's saying, I don't really know what to really equip these people with the way the world is changing so fast, and there's so much information that they have to deal with, plus all the social media and things like that they have to catch up with. That's about it. Next page, please. This is just a show-off page, just to show that I have cool art in the book, but this is just like a lot of stuff to read. Thank you. Can I have the next page, please? Much better. So he's Vancouver. They have a New Rips conference in Vancouver where like it's like supposed to be like the mecca of like the tech world and all that. So he goes there and he has some memories of the past. And this is the artificial intelligence bot we have in the book. He's made by Hugo's company, Cly, and he keeps. So in the beginning of the book, like it's the 14th year anniversary of him and his wife having moved into that house. So this thing has the job of reminding him that it's the anniversary, so we have to like get a gift. And then like a typical, I mean, that's my idea of an AI thing. Like it keeps on like bugging you and like boring you or something. So it just keeps going, like wherever he goes, he's like, why don't you get a gift from here for Anna? Why don't you get something from here? And I had fun with it. In between somewhere, like he says, shut up and all to the AI thing. So like that. Next one. So this is basically where, you know, I base the main character on Laura, and then I need to push in some angles from a cynic sort of point of view. So I made a little yeah, I thought like, okay, I can base a character on myself also. I have done IO earlier, so I've got rights to use IO outside of this book because I've already published him before. So it's like my alter ego kind of thing within after a pen name. So it's kind of getting very like Inception types. So one of the points there is something that a friend of mine raised, that for like to sort of dispel the connection that caste has with certain professions. So he said he's not for AI, but he's for an AI that could do some drainage cleaning work, because there are stigmas associated with it, and if that job is not there, then they won't be connected to that job. So I found that like he's not really saying we should have robots all over the place, but he's saying for certain things, which is how we also feel at the end of the day. There are lots of good things about AI. There are lots of things that only AI can do also, but we have to be clear. Currently, at least where we are now, the AI does not like create; it reproduces. And my simple example is for images, or like I said earlier, the beats, the drum thing that it was doing. Like if I tear half of this MBIFL poster and half of the Calicut Lit Fest poster, actually no, you won't be able to tell the difference because both of them look kind of alike. But what I mean, like if I put two things, then you can tell like half is this, half is that. If I cut them up into 1,000,000 pixels and of 1,000,000 posters, and I recombine them and show it to you, you can't really tell like, okay, this many pixels are from that and all that. But that's how the AI stuff is working now, because we are training AI, we are training it to do some things. It gets better and better at training, at the trained stuff. I'll show you some examples because we got the AI to draw like me in this book also. The next one. This is this is a very cool page, but I don't want to give away the surprise and the suspense here. Next one, please. This whole chapter is in the office, and so I wanted to give this idea of this eye looking at the people from above, everywhere where they are. So the whole chapter has this sort of like this eye in the layout. And then a friend of mine who read the book yesterday came and I asked about it, and he said he completely missed it. The whole chapter has like about 10 pages. All of them are composed like this, with this circular thing, like, because it's in the office and there's always like this surveillance thing happening. So, we kept that through the chapter. But like, yeah, each chapter has a little bit of a visual trip like that, because the writing was a little heavy for me, and I really wanted to like just go into my own drawing zone after that. Next one. This is Legrand, Jacques Legrand. He sort of depicts what that corporate, the devil and the temptation sort of thing. He's basically telling Hugo that, make the right call. Even your wife will like that. He's talking about security and comfort, and we're going into a next phase.
Who came up with the name Jacques Legrand? Pretty good. Because it's sort of Big Jack. That's a pretty good shorthand.
Actually, there was this Airbnb place where we went to for a brainstorm. It was an artist couple, and the girl there was called something Legrand. So, and she used to sign her paintings as Legrand. I thought like that was a very powerful name to sign like that. So when we came with this character, I told Laurent I want Legrand. He's like, yeah, cool, nice. So it came from that artist lady. Nice artist couple who supplied me with good stuff for some time. But yeah, can I have the next one, please? It's the time for Hugo to walk around and think. And the book is a little cramped, so I have to be very careful trying to see where to take out space for just some of these kind of pensive frames in the book. It works in the Super Hugo things, but there's also the parallel of a game in that. So, but still visually it works lighter. Next one. Lovely page, no? Like, yeah, nice. Like, oh, it's so nice. Shadow and everything. So nice. Like, yeah, okay. Next one. We got we trained an AI, stable diffusion like AI, with about 700 drawings from my book, from this book. I draw quite like I try to keep my styles different in every book, so I don't want to give it away like all my style to AI. So we trained with 700. So at 700 or 800 drawings, that's the first like 7 chapters. The AI can draw like this. It understands the colors, basic characters. It's got like Hugo pretty much okay. And then this is after the book. This is after we've concluded what we have to say. I would not trust AI to like conclude my book or even take any control over even one page of my book. This is after the story has set. We've fed the whole story into the AI, and we've said, okay, based on this story, we suggested 5 ending scenarios or like post-ending scenarios, one of which includes a zombie apocalypse also. So it's just an exploration of showing like, okay, this is what it can do, this is what it can't do. If you train it more with like 7,000 drawings, it'll probably draw just like me. But again, like I said, it doesn't create, it reproduces. So what we mean by that is it doesn't have that intuition thing anymore. So not anymore, intuition thing at all. It can do the tasks it's been trained on. So now Laurent tells me that a lot of funding is moving out into new ways of finding this artificial intelligence. So because in our heads, it's like the image we have from the movies. So, you know, AI is like talking to us and like being director of company and like husband or wife or whatever. So this is where it came to. And actually we put all the prompts also to just be clear how much we had to tell the AI and how many trials we had to do to like get it somewhere close to what we want. If you see the last line in that blue patch says add dramatic detail, because the first few times we said it, it was very dry. It was very dead. So we said add dramatic detail, and then AI started like letting loose and started giving us like scary endings and things like that. So that's how we went into the zombie thing. I made it draw me like a zombie and things like that. But you see what I mean? Like these are like friendly, funny play, like, you know, games we can play with AI, and that's all we are allowed to or supposed to do to make it friendly, because the larger implications are way more, I mean, you can't even balance it. Like you're losing like all your data and maybe a way of like extra like total surveillance and control in fewer hands, rich getting richer, poor getting poorer, all that. And on the other side, you're like, oh, you know, we have like a self-driving car, but no, sorry, self-driving car failed. Like, you know, we can't have self-driving cars. We have better suggestions on your like listening device. It can tell you more better, like, you know, what color you'd like or something, like, you know, like whatever. I don't see the balance really, even after making this. There are all the areas where we think it should be used more, but I think the problem now is those areas are not getting enough funding. Those are more scientific and social oriented areas. So what Laurent was saying is the largest machines have become so big that it's only owned by large corporations, like really big corporations. Like earlier, when a new technology is coming out, you'll have like independent researchers, universities, government setups or something, like many organizations doing research on how to use this technology more. Right now it seems like a substantial part of it at least is stuck in extreme corporate hands, which are only looking at how to use it for profit. So there are many good uses, but we're in this thing. So in the book we say it's a really powerful tool in the hands of a destructive species, and that's how it's always been. And we have enough to prove that it's a destructive species, so we have to be careful. Sorry, Karthik, I forgot about you. I just like went on with it.
That's excellent. That's how I prefer it. But I do have a question related to the bit with AI. Does it get royalties?
So That's a good part because in the US some courts have said like AI art cannot be copyrighted, which is like then I think people who are using AI for art will probably think twice about it because you can't publish your book like that with that. Then this may be like I should get royalty because like the AI see, but AI has been trained on my style of this book. But if I tell it to draw something in Paris, which I have not drawn, it will still draw it. So it has a lot of other training on how, like, you know, it needs a lot of training just to know what a person is, or like, you know, how a person is different from a cat or something like that. So there is a lot of training behind it, and then we are adding this for the visual look, like, okay, base it on my thing kind of thing. But yeah, it's a slightly like dicey area. There was that artist Rutkowski. Suddenly Rutkowski was the most prompted artist. Rutkowski draws these Lord of the Rings movie type of like canvas painting, so something very fantasy and dragons and castles and things like that. So people were making like, you know, donuts in the sky in Rutkowski style, and Rutkowski was like, oh my god, like what's going on? So he went to court, and then he had to prove that he didn't give any of the art for like training. He's put it up on his website, like all of us have put up all our stuff on all these social media things. So the AI is scraping that data and learning on that. And recently there was a list that was leaked from Midjourney, which showed like all the artists that they had trained it on. And then there was a list of who they're going to train it on, which included like MF Hussein and, you know, so I don't know, like, it's always like this corporate game, right? Like we're supposed to be like dumb or something, and it's just like play along and think it's only about like some self-driving car, but I don't think it is. Do we have one more? I think we have one more. Next picture, please. It may take your job, your identity, and your soul, but hey, it's fun. That's what I was trying to say all this time. I should have just shown you this. But really it's the company that is run by this eccentric billionaire and all that. No relation to anybody you know. But that's the thing. And yeah, it's like this page turner, like, you know, irresistible kind of book. Like, you know, everybody go and like buy this shit. Like it's out there somewhere. We have only like 20 copies or something. No, we have more? Okay, cool. But like, yeah, it's running out kind of thing. Yeah.
What's next for Laurent and you?
I don't know. There is a danger of doing a book like this that is going to be like outdated in like 6 months, because this field is moving like phenomenally fast. So we were thinking of like, we put up a website where we do some interviews and we keep talking about the topic. The book sort of angles towards this ethical, responsible AI thing, which is, if you ask me right now, it's a kind of greenwash. It's a kind of like corporate like eyewash of how to like get things. So it's like how all these fuel companies became green with leaves and like said, you know, like early 2000s, like that happened. All the fossil fuel companies became green and like, you know, brighter tomorrow kind of thing. I think that's what it is right now in the AI world. But it's correct to say like ethical, responsible and all that, but we don't have enough regulations or guidelines properly to like, and I think it has to come only case by case, like EU has said in their regulation thing also, because people don't know. And we are not going to have any regulation. We are going to have like this thing rolling out, and like, you know, whoever can like make a buck of it is going to like make a buck of it. And a lot of people, I think, are going to have it really tough.
Slightly facetious, but I am curious because, as you know, I love Rashtraman and the whole world. Can you see a crossover? I can just imagine that AI would be really useful for Rashtraman.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it is. Because it makes that kind of control a lot more stronger. Because you see, like, it's a machine, and it depends on a perfect system to work. If it's a gray system, it can't really work. So a lot of stuff that's going to go wrong in India is because the systems are not like clear enough for it to work. It has been planned and designed on something that is like pure black and white kind of thing. So when it comes here, It's going to have us go into an endless loop of fixing systems. To in the name of making this future technology or something work, like when Aadhaar came out, what happened? Like a lot of people like go with this MG and Rega now also. You're not in the register, you're cut off, then you don't get anything. Like that is because our systems have been like working like that. This is going to create like 100 times more like confusion like that, because it's going to come in every field and it's going to be rolled out very premature. And they hurry. That's another thing. Like if you look at it objectively, what is the hurry? What is this pressing need to make it do everything? It's after all we say like it makes life more convenient. Like convenient for who and at what cost? Like convenient is a narrative like that has been spun somewhere like on another hemisphere in another part of the world. I don't think those people have really visualized how it rolls out everywhere. So when you talk about it, like you're talking about bringing it in because somebody gets a majority, a monopoly or something. That's the only reason why we should hurry it. It's not like COVID where we have to rush in some vaccine like which nobody knows what it is type of thing. But here we have time. And another thing, like people will tell you, like industrial revolution came and like many things came, and it's just another thing like that. No, it's not. That took like 100 years, and this is going to be like overnight or something. So what you're saying is not that it should not come. What you're saying is like there's going to be huge displacement, and we need time for that displaced workforce to go and get absorbed somewhere else. So we have to either create other agendas, and that is also one way of like welcoming this. But the way it's being done is the problem. Hey, Karthika, thank you. Like, she's like, I'm putting her on the spot like this. Like, now somebody take over and ask some questions.
Are there any questions? We have time for questions, don't we? Mathrubhumi team? Yeah.
We're not answering any technical questions. Prem, don't go.
It's unrelated to the book release, but congratulations on the same. I had a question regarding what you feel about the comics industry or the graphic novel industry in India right now. Like, what do you feel is the scope for artists who are entering, especially when AI comes into the picture? I'm not sure if that was answered earlier because I just walked in, but yeah.
No scope at all. Don't do. Get away. Go. Save yourself.
No, I'm
go
a
to a
writer.
corporate job. Spend 1 month in an advertising firm. Earn as much as you would in 5 years as a comic artist. Like, yeah, cool. It's pretty much like that. I'm not like kidding.
No, I'm a content writer and we're both storytellers, so we know that, but we were hoping that things might be better in the graphic novel industry side of things at least.
Well, it depends on what kind of graphic novel you want to tell. Like, if you want to make like Malay Kotte Waliban comic, then maybe you'll get some money. Or like some... I don't know, there are superhero things, but even those are not popular as comics. Like there is a buzz that comics are going to do well because everyone's watching these Marvel movies or DC movies or something. But that's only that. I'm happy that the mainstream of comics is become like very accessible to us, because slowly a lot of people will realize that, oh, these are like the same stories in different costumes. So, and we can go look at like alternate comics, independent comics, and like read all more like different kinds of comics and stories. So I think it will grow because of this. Like you get like saturated with like Superman or something, and then you start looking for other stuff, right? So I think that step is happening, but we are generally low on readership anyway. So we have like multiple hurdles to cross here, because like comics have bad name, generally readership is falling.
They're not
Publishers are
considered
closing.
proper reading material as well.
Huh?
They're not considered proper books.
Absolutely not. But this is a proper book. This is very educational. It's very good to spend like 450, 500 bucks on this because your kids are going to learn, and you're also going to learn. Eh? Okay.
Also, would you happen to have any way in which, as an audience, we're all consuming comics and other media, or graphic media, especially on the internet, but most of it is for free? How would you say we can support more indie comic artists as well as indie comic houses in India?
It's both up to the supporter and the indie comic artists. I think the comic artists also have to live up to some things. But right now there are lots of new voices, like strong and very cool voices coming. Thanks to social media also, like, because Instagram has made it like this thing that, everybody can put it out, and then there's a sort of a camaraderie, there's competition there, and people are putting out stuff. It's very nice. I see a lot of like good stuff coming up now, but to make market sense of it is a whole different game. There will be like some supporters for indie stuff, and actually that's okay. Like, it's not like you have to totally live by it or anything. Even in more evolved markets, I found comic artists who do other work to survive, and they make comics also. It's fine. Like, what's our thing that, it has to pay us, only then we'll do it and all that. If you like it, like, you do it, like you signed up for it kind of thing,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the questions. We need more questions.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the comic scene generally? This is for me.
What is that?
About the comic scene in India generally.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going? What's going on? What's exciting? Writers to watch? It'd be really fun to know from you.
It's a trick question or something, right? Like, my publisher's asking me what is this comic scene in India and all. Huh? I don't know, Karthika, do you know anything about the comic scene in India?
Very, very little, but I don't think she wants me to talk. She wants you to talk. She is very different. You
we
could
have
talk about what you did today. What else you did today? Like, outreach of comics.
Yeah, okay. Like, no, we have some good stuff coming, but I don't know what to make of it. We enjoyed comics because, I don't know, there was a Tintin thing that I had. Like, I was just taking a walk with mom. Mom was going shopping, and it was on the street, and I stopped and I said, I want that. Because of the format it was in, like, it was big and colorful and everything, and it was like 3 rupees. So my mom bought it for me, and that's the beginning of my comic collection. I don't know if we are, earlier you had asked a question also, there was part of that. We are feeding a lot of free comics and free content to the people. So that has kind of become the norm. Now it's like this big generous act that the reader is doing by, like, pressing that heart button, like, I give you a like, and then we take those likes and like go to the market and like buy our meager existence. But I think there is a culture, but it's very divided. Like, for example, comics have become very expensive now. So how do you grow it from bottom? Like, I think we always get it top down. In the sense, like rock music, I used to play in a band and everything, but we are aping something, like it didn't have roots right here. I feel like comics is going to, or is suffering a thing like that, where we don't have enough of like local stuff coming, which gives it that flavor and which gives it that connection with the people to grow it organically. But one very good thing is Joshi's book, Pig Flip. It's come out. Joshi was somewhere around there. I think he's disappeared. But it was called Pandimalat in Malayalam, and it's come out as Pig Flip. It's got that kind of flavor that I'm talking about. But it doesn't mean one flavor. We have to have enough content to have like a whole world of like things going on. Definitely we have enough stories. Definitely we have enough stuff to come out. There is art also. I think it's the market that is stopping a lot of people. I can't honestly like call somebody who's a good artist and tell them like, come and make comics. It's going to be good for you. It'll be a lie. I can't do that. It also depends on what they make and how they make it work and everything. So people try to make comics for like they make a comic for a year or something, and then they find that much money is easily available in a month in some other area. So we lose artists to those kind of things. I don't think like there's an answer there. If you're mad about comics, or if you're really passionate about it, if you have really something that you want to say, then you should go and make it. Like, but I don't see a very flowery like scene for comics as such. What do you think as my publisher?
I'd like to see you proved absolutely wrong and for lots of good things to happen.
I hope so too, but I can't like reason it out like how it'll be, because as it is, like, readership is going down and we are trying to get people to like read online and pay for it or something. It just seems like a little uphill.
Any more
Shall we ask her questions?
Yeah, let's ask her questions. Why
Yes.
are you publishing comics in this dreary scene?
Hey, Appupen. Good evening. Hey, surprise.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Hey,
What's
hey.
up?
Okay, so before you got into this book, you had some ideas about AI. Then you did this book. What is a drastic surprise that came from doing this? Is there something drastic that came up that surprised you through your journey through this about AI, good or bad?
Thank you, Jeffrey. I think it's like I'm a bit of a dreamer. I like to think like, we'll behave better or we'll see sense. As a race, we have common sense and things like that. I think a bit of that broke while I was working on this book, and towards the end also, when I realized that all my life I've been sitting in a puddle and like talking about some environmental thing or some like corporate responsibility thing and all. But it's an echo chamber, and I think somewhere in between this, I got to see how the other side sees us, and I felt really stupid. That's all.
Is it too early to know what reactions in the tech industry have been in France, for instance? Like Laurent's own peers and...
See, the book doesn't. You cannot be against the book, because then it's like then you're saying that you're for outright profit. So nobody's going to like this. This says the right thing. It actually echoes like what the corporate world wants to say also. That be careful. They also say it, be careful and all. It's just that they're not. They don't mean it seriously. I was trying to like say it seriously. That's what I was telling Jeffrey. Like that's the reality thing that hit me. Like we say these things like thinking like it means something to somebody, but the actual like, do you think like they don't know it? Of course they know it. They know that all these things are there, but it's not in that realm at all. Like, so that's where I felt like little stupid and like small.
Now that you have gone down this journey of like just trying to understand like what AI is doing and like other implications of it, just on an individual level, if you had to, what is the most like hyper optimistic scenario in your head where we have to coexist with whatever's happening, and like where are we going down towards, and what does that world look like? Because I know like there's a little bit of dystopia. I haven't read it yet. I do have the book, but I'm sure there's a little bit of like dystopian kind of lens involved, right? Like where everything doesn't go as well as we'd like it to. But just on an individual level, like a world where it's not possible, what does it look like for you? Like a completely optimistic perspective. AI doesn't go away though.
Right now, the most optimistic I can think of is like, see, I'm not worried about AI making a comic, but I am worried about AI taking my income stream, which is doing some corporate identity or design or advertising or something. Because AI can be trained on like millions of that and can be asked to do it. So whatever like works well with scale and time. So basically for like mass production of things, it helps. So right now I'm hoping that it doesn't take away that stream, because like we explained, comics are not surviving on its own. So I have to bullshit and like get some other money going. So I think the hit is going to come there. I don't see like a perfect scenario with it, because however much you say like, it's going to require a lot of resources, and it's going to be controlled by somebody or the other, which is going to like amass power in certain vested areas, or so it's going to like, it's not a game that I would like think of in my utopian dream, like that's more like windmills and like some farms and things like that. This doesn't have to be there really. If you're talking about convenience, like we are living, we've been like we're living fine. We can choose like where it adds to our life, like for whole of society, where it makes the difference, and we can choose to have it there, but that won't be the way we take it. That's so yeah.
Like what you said about like there are like a very limited amount of players that are controlling the way that like whatever is working right now, right? Especially because we do not have the same computational power or even the same amount of like resources or documentation needed to train it in certain ways, which is why the AI that we have access to has like just n number of like biases and I mean, if you really, it's very easy for the AI to be racist and all of these other things. So like for me, for example, like I also have been like doing art and especially like getting into the AI side of things because it fascinates me. And I feel like it's altering my brain chemistry along with like everyone else around me. So like again, right, like completely rejecting it is one thing, but like in just a little bit of a cautiously optimistic way, I feel like at least if the data is there already, if there's some way that we can balance it out, kind of like, you know, not let it just go on the side of the West and like amplify those voices as it is, can it be helpful in that way where, you know, we can provide it like data from our side? We are doing that anyway. If we have no control, I'm just saying, like, you know.
We have to learn to live with it anyway. There's no, like, this is, I was talking about my fantasy, like when I'm like, you know, like there's no scene like that. We are going to live with it and we're going to have to learn to like live with it. So that's going to come. We're just trying to like slow it down or like, you know, break that force a little bit. That's all. Yes, Jeffrey. Is there a Dream Machine 2?
Is there a Dream Machine 2 or is there a Dream Machine Indian version coming out? We are collaboration with some sort of...
We are first working on Earth 2 to like make Dream Machine 2 possible.
Okay.
Like, so if there is an Earth 2, then Dream Machine will be there and back. But yeah, we're trying to do something more and maybe have a different added thing at the end or something in the next edition. Because the field is moving fast. And there are some areas that we talked about like getting into. So like it was also like, you know, if the book does well, then we'll do that. So I think we are now like started talking about it, but it depends on all of you, like how this goes further. But yeah, I think the book is doing kind of well. So we are talking about doing something to keep this it's moving very fast, so there is new stuff that we need to like get into that way.
Awesome.
But already there's much to celebrate, right? You haven't told us about the number of languages Dream Machine's going to come out in, the places it's going to. I think there's something to celebrate and you ought to be telling us that.
I don't know, I'm not in that mood yet, but yeah, like yeah. It's in German and French and English now.
Finnish.
Huh?
Finnish as well.
No.
Okay.
German, French, English.
Okay.
That's all. We were talking Spanish, but no, not happening. But they are taking it somewhere now. See.